Hopefully you have used either this link or the graphs in the tutor site to investigate different exponentials of this form and what happens as the values of k, a, and c change. So let's discuss this. So first of all, the equation of the horizontal asymptote. Hopefully you could see that the horizontal asymptote was linked to exactly one of these. Now the easiest way to do that is if you change each of them individually. When you change k, the asymptote doesn't change. When you change a, the asymptote doesn't change. But when you change c, it does. So hopefully you can see that the asymptote is going to always be y equals c. And the reason for this is, remember that an asymptote is what happens as x approaches infinity. So as x approaches infinity, what happens to a to the x? Well, a to the x tends to infinity. It gets really, really big. So that doesn't particularly help us, but what's more interesting is what happens as x approaches negative infinity. Because as x approaches negative infinity, a to the x approaches 0. A to a really big negative power, that's 1 over a really big number. So it gets closer and closer to 0. And if a approaches 0, then ka to the x approaches 0. And so the whole function just becomes equal to c. So that's where we get that horizontal asymptote. But the horizontal asymptote is only on one side. It's only on the left side because it only happens when x approaches negative infinity and not positive infinity. Now let's think about the y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is a bit harder to spot, but actually if we think about the general form, we can see it. Because it's k times a to the x plus c, the y-intercept is when x is equal to, not 1, and x is equal to 0. So y is equal to k times a to the 0 plus c, but a to the 0 is equal to 1, so this is just k plus c. So the y-intercept is always going to be 0, k plus c, for an exponential function of this form. Finally, where the graph is in relation to the x-axis. Now this depends a little bit on the asymptote, because it will move up and down, but also on the whether it's, you would have seen some of them are doing this, but you would have seen some others of them which are doing this. And that's to do with the sign of k, whether k is positive up here, or k is negative, and it'll be down here. So those are our sort of three aspects of an exponential function based on k and c. That is, whether it's sort of above or below the x-axis in that sort of way, what the y-intercept is, which is k plus c, and what the horizontal asymptote is, which is just y equals to c.